Hello, this is Mr. Huff, and let's take a look at this Keyguard for just a moment. I think one of the things we want to do is extend this line to this edge so that we have a little stability here and here. That should leave ample access to this button and the keyboard button and the home button. So what we're going to do then is go back to our sketch design. Remember, I've got the Keyguard itself hidden, and we are working on this framework here. So what we did in the last video is we established these construction lines. So let's continue with this work. All right, so we are going to go down here to the bottom. This is our frame boundary sketch, and we're going to continue on this. So from this center one, we're going to go over to the left one and over to the right one. L and Q will turn on line and construction line mode, and we're just going to add a line from here to here, and LQ, and add a line from here to here. And what that's going to do for us is give us a way to connect those things together. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to start doing some offsets. One of the things I was looking at, if we look at this Keyguard, if we measure the width of this by clicking these two, we can see that these are 6 millimeters wide. And for the Keyguard we're working on now, because the density of the buttons is a lot higher, we need to make that not so wide. So what I'm going to do up here is I found the variable I put in place for that, and it's called G-line. We're going to double click this, and we're going to change that to, let's try 1.5. Okay, so we're going to cut this down. So the width of the lines will be 3 millimeters, which should give us enough strength that it's rigid. So we're just going to hit check on that. And then now we have that G-line set. The next tool we're going to use is when we are in frame boundary, we are going to add offsets on each of these lines that are that G line variable. So I want to find the offset button. There it is right there. So we're going to add 2 here, and I'm just going to hit enter there, and we're going to change that to hashtag G line, and that's what we want to have there. And then we're going to do another one, but this one we're going to pull to the other side. And I'm just going to pull it down here and then hit enter, hashtag GL to pull up G line. And now we have the little window, the little width of the line right there. So we're going to do this over and over for all of these. So I will be quiet now and do this. All right, we are going to stop there. I think I've got them all. So if you look at this, we have offset on both sides of those guidelines there. So now I think we're ready to extrude this frame. Let me check right here. One of the problems that we are going to run into is this needs to intersect that. So we probably need to do trim and extend. So I'm going to extend this to this, and this to this. So let's go check the other side. We can't have any openings there, that's the main thing. So we're going to do this to this and this to this. And that way we should have connection. If you wanted to keep going on that, you could go through and trim all of these out. I'm not going to worry about that right now. We're going to see if it extrudes without doing that. So the power of this is if we want to change the width of those lines, all we have to do is go change the value for G line. If we wanted to make it narrower or thicker, then that's all we would have to do. So right now what we're going to do is see if we can extrude all of this. So I'm going to unhide the key guard now, and now we're going to use extrude, and we're going to try to extrude all these little pieces of the lines. So it's real important that you click on, that is not what I wanted. Okay, so we need to change the direction. I want to go up, and I want to go up to face, and I'm going to choose the top of this. So what it's going to do is extrude from that to the top. And so now we just have to keep choosing the pieces that we want to extrude up. So I'm just going to work my way across here from the top to the bottom until we have everything extruded up. And it looks like it's connecting it all as one contiguous part, and that's what we want to see. And it complained about that. I don't know why. Why are you complaining? Face of frame, solid, add, close that one, this one. Okay, it doesn't like it if they don't touch, so we're gonna just keep going there, all right? All right, in this process, some of the things that we did, when I was doing the offsets, I copied and pasted the hashtag G line so I could just copy and paste that in as I went. One of the things that you need to pay attention to, you may have noticed during it, if you click things that aren't connected necessarily, it may complain and turn the sketch red. Just keep clicking. If you click the wrong thing, just hit Control Z. This process could be streamlined a lot if you went through the sketch and deleted the lines that cross the intersections. So this was one continuous open sketch, and then it would just be one single extrusion, but that's a lot of trimming. So since this is usually just kind of a one and done thing, I just chose to click on all the little things, even though it was tedious. All right, another thing we need to be aware of is these little edges are going to be sharp. So one of the things we want to do to make it where it's more comfortable to use is we're going to chamfer these edges. And this also is tedious, but we're going to use the chamfer tool. And these are only 3 millimeters wide. If we chamfer at 2 millimeters, we will have an overlap. So I'm going to reduce that to, let's make it 1. And that way we'll have a 1 millimeter chamfer and then a flat top and a 1 millimeter chamfer. What it's going to do is take off the sharp edges. So we'll just go around and get all of those. So let me kind of rotate a little bit here. And we'll just, I like to work across like on one side and focus on that. And that way you get all the edges done. So I'll do this right now. So this is what it's going to do. It's just going to cut that edge off. So what I'm going to do is hit all the ones that are horizontal in this view on the bottom. And I'm going to work on these top 2 rows. And we'll go around and chamfer all those edges. Yes, it's tedious. All right, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and save on that. So all the ones that are horizontal are chamfered. Then I'm going to just rotate this around, and I'll do the same thing for the ones that are for these rows here. One of the things you got to be real careful about is make sure that you are clicking on exactly what you mean to chamfer. Okay, one of the things I want to point out is if you click the wrong thing, like if you click on this face, it's going to cause troubles and it's not going to chamfer correctly. It will show up in this list over here, and then you can just hit the X and it will delete the last thing that you selected and you can continue. One of the things when you finish, you should be able to do a real quick just visual inspection, make sure all of your edges are chamfered. One of the things you want to watch for is this little width here should be uniform around your whole frame, okay? So at this point, we have a completed frame. So let's review what we've done so far. So we planned out the frame size, and we established an outline sketch, and then we used some construction lines to lay out the grid, and then we used offsets and a parametric value to establish the width. We extended or extruded the frame that we need to define the spaces for the keys, and then we chamfered all the edges. All the chamfer does is it just makes it where you're putting your fingers is not sharp. When we print this is not going to be a real big difference here, but it's not going to have a sharp edge. Also, you'll notice that I chamfered all the way around on the inside of this as well. I think see right here, I missed a spot, so I have to go chamfer one more thing. Right here, I missed this line, okay? So we'll check that. So that's the kind of stuff we're looking for, little mistakes like that. So double check everything. At this point, we should be ready to print. When we're done with this, what we're going to do is right click and export. And these are your export settings. You'll give it a name. It should be, the name is usually pretty good. STL, binary units or millimeter. Resolution is fine. And then choose export. And then we give it a name that we will recognize in our downloads folder. So this is the RL Keyguard. And now we have an STL file we can go 3D print. And I'll go through setting that up in the next video. All right, thank you so much for watching.